Greetings, Physics 109 students. So glad to be chatting with you today. So I'm making this video here to kind of give you an update where we're at in the class here and give you suggestions of how to be more successful. So I've just got done grading your first exam, and all of you folks have those scores and you know what they are. So let me talk about a few things here. I'm going to implement a new requirement here. I've put it right here in the Moodle site. I'm going to pull it up right now and chat about it. So for anything that you hand in to me, whether it be a quiz, labs, exams, anything, I'm going to talk a bit about the work expectations here and what I want that stuff to look like. Why is this not opening? Oh, there we go. All right. So make sure you folks can see this. Hopefully you can see what it is I'm looking at here, this thing. All right, so grading requirements. So anything that's under kinematics, that's what our first exam was over, study of motion. Here's some rules that we're going to implement for the rest of the semester. Any problems involving a non-zero acceleration must include the following things. All right, you need a picture of the problem with your coordinate system shown. And ideally, it should have the motion diagrams like the ... to show accelerations. And then a velocity graph will be required. This is going to be part of a requirement for any problem involving motion. And then all your solutions must use concepts of slope and area from that velocity graph to solve any given problem, right? I'm not going to accept any sort of canned equations. So canned equations at the back of the book, for example, I don't know if this will let me write on this, but let me do this. I'm just going to pull a different program up. Moment here. I'm looking for my, there it is, beloved sketchbook. So canned equations, like when you look in the back of the book, you're going to see equations that look like this. Like one of them is final velocity squared is equal to, oh, looks like my computer's giving me some trouble here. Initial velocity squared plus twice acceleration times change in position. This is what's change in position. Sorry about this, like computer's not working real great right now. For some reason, it's been giving me some trouble from time to time. But this is an example of what I call a canned equation here. This is true for problems undergoing constant acceleration, but only true in that case. And also, there's a lot of work involved in developing this equation here. So anytime you've written this down, you have skipped the work that gets there. I don't accept things like that. I want you to work all of these problems from first principles. Now, the reason I do that is because, I want you to learn the mathematics of this. I want you to learn how to analyze problems. And using an equation you see at the back of the book to solve given problems, I think there just isn't any educational value in that. So we're not going to do that. So let me get back to our rules here. So again, any motion problems, make sure you draw a graph of velocity against time, and then use that graph to solve the motion problems. That's what I'm trying to teach you how to do. All right, second now, we're just coming into the part of the class about what's called kinetics, the study of force, work, and energy. So anytime you use Newton's laws, you must have a free body diagram. Right, so anytime you use F equals ma, you better have a free body. And your equations must be consistent with the free body. When I grade these problems, the first thing I do is look at your free body. If it's correct and labeled, I move on, I start grading the rest of it. If it's not, I mark the whole problem wrong and move on to the next one. Now, the reason I do that is because part of what I'm grading you on is, can you draw a correct free body and then use it to write your Newton's second law equation. So if part one of that is wrong, part two is guaranteed to be wrong. So make sure you draw a free body and then make sure your equations come from the free body. Next thing here. Force is a vector quantity, so make sure you always define what the positive direction is, because remember from discussions that we've had, vector quantities, until you define a direction, pluses and minuses don't have any meaning. Anytime work is calculated in a problem, there must be a free body drawn. Anytime you apply the theorem of work and energy, now we haven't talked about this as of now, the time I'm making this video, but we will shortly. And I'll make a point of this when we talk about work and energy, but the initial and final positions of the system must be shown. All right, some more general rules here. All unit conversions must be written out and showing how they work out. At minimum, you better have the units in at least the final calculations in any problem, and all lab calculations. All lab calculations should have units. You know, I'm letting you take these things home, or you're working on them in lab. There's no reason why you should have calculations that don't have units in them in the lab. Let's see, anytime vectors are used, positive direction must be identified. That's all vectors: acceleration, velocity, force vectors. Any vectors in a problem that you use better be drawn and labeled. And again, failure in any of these will result in a loss of points. So this is going to be on all quizzes, tests, and there go your homework too. Try to model this when you're working your homework. Right now, you can read about this and ask questions as time goes on. So now at this point, let me talk a little bit about grades here in my computer system here. Isn't wanted to, for some reason, work real well. Let me try restarting this. Got a little trouble with this lately for some reason. Okay, that seems to be working a little better. All right, so we've taken the first test, and if you haven't gotten the grade that you want, don't panic. We're going to take at least 4 more exams. And although I didn't tell you this at the beginning of the class, I always drop 1 test score. You're going to get a chance to wipe out any bad grade. I give that late in the semester, usually with about 3 weeks to go. What I'm going to give you is basically a practice final to work on. And it'll come with answers. Then you'll get an actual test to take that will be based on that. And whatever exam you get on that score, I replace your lowest test score with that. It's a great way for you to study for your final and wipe out a bad grade. All right. But even more importantly is we have to figure out how to get you on track. Right? So 1, the video assignments. Make sure you are doing them in a very, very timely manner. All right, this thing just does not want to work. Try bringing up another program. Why isn't this giving me the ability to draw? All right. Well, we'll go back to my standard drawing program. I'm not sure what's going on with my computer right now. Again, I apologize for this, but normally I don't have any trouble with this. Video assignments. This is going to be a big part of the class because, again, it's a hybrid class, so it's going to be important you try those and you get a lot out of it. I'm going to be lengthening those video assignments for you. It's one of the adjustments I'm making to give you more practice at whatever it is I'm trying to teach you before you get on your homework. But it's going to be important that you get right on those. 2, if you're having trouble with these or your homework, get help. Right now, we're a little limited in what we have for tutoring here. You guys, you know, it takes people in the second semester classes, and we just don't have a lot of people that can tutor physics. We may or may not end up with a physics tutor to benefit you folks. But 1, you can work with me, and I'll talk about more of that in a minute, or each other. You know, if you can put study groups together, and you can use our team site to do that. You folks should be able to easily get on there and invite other people to work. But these are going to be your 2 primary things. Now, the number 1 way to contact me, text. That's why I gave you that number. You can use this a couple different ways. 1, to set up appointments. You text me during office hours, I should be able to immediately set up a Teams video for you and get you up and running, or get an appointment to work on stuff. And some of you have taken advantage of that, but I would encourage more of you to do so. And second, to use feedback, or to get instant feedback. If you take a picture of what you're working on or what your work looks like with a description, kind of what you're trying to do, I can almost, give you feedback fairly immediately. Especially if you do that during office hours, you can expect a reasonably quick response time. Now, if you send that at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. at night, I may or may not get to it the next day. So I would ask for a little bit of flexibility there. But and again, for those of you who don't have it, my phone number, 269-254-6347. This is my preferred way of contact right now because it's just so much quicker. I'm only checking my email like once a day. So you may or may not get a response to an email within 24 hours. Text, you'll get a response the fastest. So let me pull up my schedule here to, so when to get help. So right here, Captain Rod's work schedule. Let's take a look at that. Come on. I don't know why my computer's acting up here. I think I'll give it a scan here in a few minutes. But anyway, all right, so here's my schedule, and this is designed to, so that you have a good idea of how to get a hold of me. You'll notice I got virtual office hours. Those are Tuesday and Wednesdays. Like these time slots are great. You text me for an appointment in this time frame, and I can open up a Teams right away. I'm trying to make sure I'm on campus, either in Hastings or here where I got fast internet. I have 4 o'clock on Mondays and Wednesdays, kind of the same thing. I'm kind of doing this by appointment. If I don't hear anybody right at 4 o'clock or very close to it, I just go home. I am perfectly happy, although I don't have them listed, but these time frames right here, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday evenings, I am happy to take appointments during that time or answer texts. Thursday, I'll do it for emergencies, but Thursdays I do have kind of a long day, and I would just assume be done when I get home on Thursdays. If you need something though and it's important, go ahead and send it, and I'll do what I can. Fridays, I'm typically available most of the day, at least on Friday mornings and on weekends. Generally, I don't take appointments on weekends, but we're in kind of, what I would call extraordinary circumstances here. So if you need to see me and you're working on something, I'll be happy to, generally speaking, make an appointment on a weekend to help you work out with something. Now, when you make appointments, I just ask that you have tried the problems first. Make sure you give something a good minimum of 15 minutes. 20 would be better. But if you've worked on something for an hour, a single problem, if you've not made any headway, it's time to ask for help, right? So, take the video assignments seriously, get right on those, jump on your homework right away, contact me when you need help, and I promise you'll get that help. Grade-wise, you're going to get a chance to you'll get a chance to wipe out one bad score. The worst, I think, is bias. The first exam tends to give people the most trouble in this class. I think you'll find that as the course goes on, the exams will seem a bit more user-friendly. And also the grades right now, Moodle is, it's sometimes a little tough to get it to do what I want. I've noticed that it's including scores right now that you haven't even handed in yet. So if you look at your current quiz or test average right now, it's probably not 100% accurate. I'll try to get that updated for you so that more reflects your average, your true average right now. Exams tend to be the hardest part of the course. As long as you end up with an exam average of 65, 70% or higher, you're going to be fine, okay? Because people's homework scores and other things tend to lift their grades. But anyway, if you need me, get a hold of me. I'm going to just call that a day for now and figure out why my computer's acting a little laggy. And again, text is my #1 way. I'm only checking my email, once a day. So and a lot of days I'm not even checking it. I'll try to check it Monday through Friday morning, but I don't check my email over the weekend at all. So I hope that this helps.